But what we lack in proximity, we make up for in film study. And each and every week, we'll be bringing you in-depth film breakdowns from across the pond and the Sooner State. Welcome to On the Shane page. I am your host, Shane Haff. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaneHaffNFL. I'm joined, as always, by BGN's own film guru, Johnny Page. Give him a follow on Twitter at JohnnyPage9. Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm good. Weird show because we just did a show. So, yeah, been busy. Been watching Packers film. Obviously, as we know, we hired Sean Mannion. So the offense will be exactly the same. But yeah, do you want to explain what the hell we're doing for this lovely live show? Because it's a little bit of a weird one.
It is.
So we're going to keep it short and sweet. And I guess we'll explain why.
Before we do, I just have to ask a question that popped into my head while I was introducing you. Now everybody hears 9 and they think of JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
Are you going to have to change your Twitter handle off of Johnny Page 9? Like, is this something we don't want to be associated with?
See, no one's made that link until now, Shane. So I would have got away with it. But no, the brand, Shane. Think of the brand. Every OG knows it's Nick Foles.
All right.
So JJ McCarthy has nowhere near the talent as Nick Foles, clearly.
It's true, but nobody called Nick Foles 9.
Well, they should, because what's the JJ McCarthy? What's the thing again? What's it? I know, like the meme, but what was
his alter ego is 9.
Alter ego,
which, to be fair, I'm not sure anybody's going to be talking about JJ McCarthy next year, so he might not be a starting quarterback.
Yeah,
but anyways, I digress. Let's get back on task here. So what Johnny and I just got done doing was recording about a 30-minute video for Patreon where we went through and watched 25 snaps spread out over 5 games of Packers film last year. Included some snaps from a playoff game, some snaps with Malik Willis at quarterback, and just looking at concepts and things that we thought translate to the Eagles potentially to get an idea of what we might expect from the offense next year. And so similarly, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, we went through the Senior Bowl where Sean Mannion had a week to install an offense with college kids and got to call plays to get an idea of sequencing and things. So it's just continuing to try to build out an understanding of who Sean Mannion is, what kind of offense that he might prefer. And so if you're interested in all of that stuff, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Eagles Film Room. We have a $3, $5, and $7 a month tier. It gets you access to a lot of cool perks. The Discord is awesome. We've got lots of smart people in there talking Eagles football all day. We've got a guy doing draft stuff in the Patreon right now. Obviously, Johnny and I are still putting out content in there as well. And so the more of you that are in there, the more of that we can afford to do. And obviously, we want to just continue to build that community. But what we just did is watched those clips and talked through them, and now for the public show we're just going to give some synopsis, some takeaways. So if you want the film to back all this up, it's there in the Patreon. Go check it out. You can grab a free 1-week trial, but right now we're just going to talk some of our takeaways, what we really saw. And so Johnny, I'll kick it over to you first. What's the first thing that really stood out to you when we were watching those clips?
Yeah, so we haven't spoke about this. We obviously did on the Patreon, so very quick summary again. I watched 5 games. I watched every play. And then I tried to reduce it to roughly 5 plays a game. I'm going to start with, I guess, a question as well as an observation. I feel like Sean Mannion's Shrine Bowl offense is way more McVay-Shanahan-y than the Packers is, which I think is really interesting. And I don't know what what it means for us. I think the Packers offense is way better in terms of a fit for what the Eagles have been historically with Hurts. That's just my overall gut take. I think the McVay-Shanahan is obviously a total reboot. Way more under center, way more outside zone, way more boot action. I feel like the more I watched it, it's a bit of the Packers offense is a bit more, I would say, concept-y, maybe a bit more of we've got 15 plays that we run from 15 different ways, and that's what we do. But there's nowhere near as much under center outside zone boot action as there is in a McVay Shanahan style offense. So I feel like it's a really nice blend. I just do think it's really interesting that Mannion's Shrine Bowl was way more Shanahan-y. So whether Mannion's going to have like his own way of doing things, whether it's not going to be a copy of the Packers, I've just wasted my time watching all the Packers film, is interesting. But also, he's never really coached anywhere else.
Right.
Like the idea he's not going to bring the Packers to there, I think it's. I've got lots of things I want to say, I guess, but I guess one of my big takeaways would be, yeah, I don't know how you feel because obviously we watched the Shrine Bowl together as well. But to me, it is not the same. There's quite a few significant differences, actually.
Agreed. And maybe some of what maybe you're just bare bonesing it in the senior or the Shrine Bowl because you don't have very much time. So maybe that's a portion of it. And maybe it's just him meshing some of these things together. Maybe it's things that he just likes and the personnel with the Packers didn't fit with as well. So it could be any number of those things for sure. But I did think it was different. You can tell it's all related. It's all from the same family, but it's not the same. So I definitely agree with you on that. And we briefly talked about this while we were watching the film, but said we were going to say most of that for this show. One of the big things that really stands out to me is the total revamp that's going to be needed for the Eagles' skill position personnel for this offense to work, because so much of it is predicated on wide receiver blocking. A lot of quick throws to the flat, setting up guys, run blocking downfield. Lots of condensed receivers to block, which we obviously saw the Eagles do this year, but they can't block. The insert stuff, C gap, B gap inserts, like none of that works with the Eagles' current personnel. I mean, Devontae Smith is just too small. A.J. Brown has no interest in being a blocker. And the Eagles currently don't have a tight end under contract. Like, theoretically, Dallas Goedert works well as a nub tight end. You can let him block DNs and things, but he took a big step back this year as well. And whether that's age, injury, disinterest, I'm not sure. So personnel-wise, like, Darius Cooper would be great at the blocking aspect of this. We don't know what he's like going to be like as a receiver. We've mentioned Johnny Wilson, but how do you think the Eagles can get guys in the room that can do some of these things? Because honestly, I don't think they have a single receiver that is both a good blocker, a passable blocker, and has established himself as a receiver. So do you see that being a conflict? Do you think they're going to have to change things? Are they going to search for different personnel? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we said this. So for those of you, again, on the Patreon, you'll see the film, but there were a lot more, and I'm going to combine, I'm going to answer your question, but combine it with my other takeaway. One of my other big takeaways was, to me, they're way more RPO-y. If that is a term. And again, some of this is personnel. It could be because Jordan Love and Malik Willis are quite mobile. And look who they've currently got. The Rams have got Stafford, obviously, and 49ers have got Purdy. So neither of them are particularly mobile. And I think shotgun RPO game helps if your quarterback can keep it. You look at some of the Rams as well. Devontae Adams, he's hardly like a yak guy in the flat. Even Puka Nakua is more of a downfield, like contested catch guy. 49ers are bigger. They lost Debo and Ayuk. So some of this is personnel related, right? Who have the Packers got? A lot more guys who can break tackles, like your Jaden Reed, Golden. So some of it's personnel related, but they're way more shotgun RPO heavy, in my opinion, in the way they do things. And to me, it's a concern. It sounds weird to say it's a concern. Like these things take time, but I think it might take a while to get the personnel that they really want around here. It doesn't mean everyone needs to be 6'5" and like a giant blocker. I don't need 4 Johnny Wilsons, right? Some of them aren't big. Jaden Reed's not big. Devontae Smith will be fine. But I think you can't carry that many. Devontae Smith isn't great after the catch. That's the truth. To be honest with you, he's not a great fit for the bubble screens, which is a problem because you can't really use him on the bubble screen and you don't really want him blocking for the bubble screen. So, like, maybe there's a world where Devontae doesn't play 100% of the snaps as well, and they were Packers were almost famous amongst the fantasy community for consistently rotating into a lot of different personnel packages. Like, you couldn't predict their receivers. I think Christian Watson was always their guy. But look at his blocking in the clips as well, by the way. So I think the truth is they're going to need a very different receiver and very different tight end room. There's a lot of focus on the moment about the offensive line. Like, Stout's gone, they've got to learn a new scheme. I'm like, offensive linemen have been running outside zone their whole life. Yes, they might coach it differently. If the offensive linemen are good, they're going to be good. Lane Johnson, if he comes back, isn't going to suddenly go, oh my God, outside zone, what? And like, John Malata's not going to suddenly like fall over his own feet. They'll be okay. I think the more interesting discussion might be about the receiver and tight end room. The tight end room just needs to go. And then the receiver room maybe needs a couple of changes. I think Darius Cooper will fit quite well. A.J. Brown's going to be a huge problem because I don't really know, because if he's as talented as they come, by the way, you see teams sometimes get worse because they prioritize scheme over talent, and we've said this. So if a new coach walks in and goes, right, AJ Brown, not good enough, off you pop, you don't fit the scheme, doesn't mean you're going to get better because you've lost AJ Brown. So being a great fit for a certain scheme doesn't, sometimes coaches have to play around their players. Like, you have to do things that you don't want to do necessarily because it fits the personnel you've got. So I think there has to be some semblance of balance. But I think Hurts would enjoy like the RPO, bubble screen, shotgun game. I do think that you have to run more as well for it to work.
Yeah, and we
saw a bit of a Malik Willis film, didn't we?
Yeah, just some data points to bear that out. You talk about RPOs. The Eagles ranked 9th in the Eagles ran RPOs on 9% of their snaps, which ranked 13th last year. The Packers were at 14%, which ranked 5th. Are the percentages or the ranks more helpful in this? So I don't have to say both. Ranks?
Yeah, ranks.
Okay, so the Eagles ranked 13th in RPO usage. The Packers ranked 5th. And then in success rate on RPOs, the Eagles were 17th and the Packers were 7th. So a lot more RPOs.
Have you got numbers in front of you for everyone?
Yeah. No, I've got them for the Packers and the Eagles, but I can pull them for anybody.
Yeah, I'm just interested where Rams and 49ers are, just because I mentioned them not being as RPO, and then they might prove me completely wrong. 49ers might. I feel like the Rams won't.
The 49ers ranked 32nd in RPOs.
Wow, there you go. Smart.
And who else did you ask? The Rams?
Rams. Come on, be fair first.
The Rams ranked 31st.
Did they really?
They did, yes.
This is the best moment for me ever.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That proves my point. There you go. I'm going to log off. They are not. It's not the McVay.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, good night. Everyone just says like McVay Shanahan. I'm watching the Packers and I'm like, I don't really see a McVay Shanahan offense. But the funny thing was, I watched a Shrine Bowl and I'm like, this is Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting. As you said, it might just be it's easier to install in a quick look. And again, I think a lot of it comes down to personnel. Don't get me wrong. When Kyle Shanahan or whatever the 49ers had Kaepernick or whatever quarterback, they probably weren't running the same stuff. So
yeah, a few more numbers. So play action usage, the Eagles were 28th, the Packers were 8th. Obviously,
my guess is Rams and 49ers would be high in that.
Come on, Johnny.
Sorry.
I'll look that up for you in a second. Hold on.
Sorry.
Motion, obviously we know Eagles 28th, Packers 15th. Shotgun usage, the Eagles were 7th, the Packers were 21st.
Yeah, that's the difference.
And then another one is screen game. The Eagles ranked 30th in screen percentage, the Packers ranked 17th. And so
yeah,
it's all got to do with wide receivers blocking. Like the Eagles screen game's been bad for a long time because they haven't had receivers that could do that. So you wanted 49ers play action?
Yeah, and Rams. And while you're doing that, Philly wannabe GM, the secret Fangio guy on the Patreon commenting, saying once he was hired, Mannion that is, I became much more interested in move blockers at tight end and H-back. I think it's huge. I think if you're going to hire a coach, you've got to let him run his scheme to a start. It doesn't mean things are going to get better. I really do think that. But I think, that tight end room needs to... Do you know, maybe you can survive with a lot of 12 personnel with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith as your receivers. Again, with someone else like a Darius Cooper maybe, or an equivalent Romeo Downs or something. But then a tight end room has got to be totally different. Blow it up. I don't anyone like Granson Calcaterra should be nowhere near.
Who's the guy that I hated in the draft last year, that Bowling Green, that the Browns drafted?
Oh, Howard Fannin.
Yeah, Fannin. Fannin would be great in the Mannion offense.
Well, David Njoku, and Browns link there as well.
Yeah. So the 49ers ranked 30th in play action rate, and the Rams ranked 1st.
Wow, that's fascinating. And it had different AI. It shows you what personnel means as well.
Yeah.
Could I ask for one more number?
Yeah.
RPO of the Colts.
RPO, it's high.
I know it will be.
I looked that up when I was talking about RPOs for Steichen. 4th.
Yeah, 4th. And the RPO Philly saying it's due to personnel. Yeah, I just think it has to be. Like, you don't sign Devontae Adams and go, hey, Devontae, can you run bubble screens? Sorry. And that's the thing about this tree. It's not as simple. And they'll change next year as well. That's the beauty of great coaching. I just think it's really interesting. But for me, everyone just keeps going on about, like, Packers being like the 49ers because, obviously, LaFleur coached under, Shanahan or... and Shanahan and McVay, right? He's coached under both of them. But to me, it's different. I don't think it's the same. Obviously, there are similarities, but it's not completely the same. It's not like they're running the same ship. I think it's very different, I would say.
In the last 3 years, Shane Steichen has ranked first, third, and fourth in
Yeah,
RPO rate.
and the Eagles had a lot of success for that, and I think the Eagles need to get back into it, honestly. I do think the NFL's changing in that you can't just run like shotgun 11 personnel bubble screens. Defenses are too good for that. But also, still a little bit of a numbers game. You can block well on the edge. You can run the ball well. You can enforce defenses. You can put linebackers in stress of run pass. Like, a lot of it comes down to running the football effectively, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes down to QB run game.
Which is something that we're going to have to watch because the Eagles didn't run Hurts this year. And so you're going to get into, is that a Hurts preference? Is that an Eagles preference? Was it a Patullo preference? And you're going to see Hurts run more this year because I think he has to. Like, if you take Hurts' legs away, maybe I should have said this on a Patreon podcast, not on a public podcast.
Oh, he's not good enough. Don't pay him.
If you take Hurts' legs away, he's not the guy you want to pay $50 million a year to be quarterback.
I agree.
He's just not. And that's not that I don't like Hurts. It's not that I don't think he's a good quarterback. It's that if you're going to take away the two things I think Hurts is best at is his deep ball and his running ability. And so if you're going to take away one of his two best skills, and it's like that for most quarterbacks, like if you're going to take away their second best skill, that obviously makes them a worse player, a more limited player. And so I think Hurts needs to be running more. I think that's something they've got to get back to. And he's not as dynamic of an athlete as Malik Willis, not at all, but it's a different type of run game. And I think you will see the Eagles build that back out next year. They better build it back out next year.
Yeah, right. Let's speed for a couple more because we're going too long. A great comment, by the way, by Philly Want to Be GM again, saying that Shanahan seems to find the QB to fit him, whereas the other coaches adjust to the QB. I think that's true, and I think Mannion will maybe have to adjust to Hurts as well. Other big takeaways I had were obviously play action. 12 personnel was huge. Huge. I think the more when you watch the clips, you'll see it all over the time. I think the mobile quarterback fits. I think looking at what Malik Willis did in the offense was really strong, and I think you could say they relied a little bit more on the shotgun run game, a little bit more read option, RPO stuff. And I think the other thing I just had was like it being a pretty QB friendly offense. Yeah. Like I think we did see some like tight window throws, but in the ones I saw, guys pretty open. Like receivers are open. I think the way they coach plays is that they have a lot of options for QBs. Their spacing's really good compared to the Eagles spacing. Like you don't see receivers in the same area. Receivers seem really spaced out. They use little tendencies like motion, switch releases, just little minor things that make things easier on a quarterback. And I hope that Mannion, being a former quarterback as well, will lean into those concepts. Because I think my least favorite like narrative is that if it's QB friendly, it's because your QB's bad. And I think the exact opposite. You want every scheme to be QB friendly. I want the most QB-friendly scheme nearly all the time, personally.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but watching the offense, like, there were lots of routes crossing the middle of the field, but there weren't a lot of, like, middle-of-field throws. There
wasn't as many as you think. This is my point. It's not like Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, deep. It really wasn't.
Right, like there's one particular play that's sticking in my head from our film rewatch where it's play action and they've got a deep comeback route. But then coming from the other side, there's a dig route, but like by the time you would come off of that deep comeback to it, it's almost to the sideline. It's more like a flood. You're just coming from the opposite sideline. And then you've got a check down in the flat and a check down over the ball. And so like it's a simple like the comeback to this dig route that's now getting to the sideline to either of our checkdowns to run the ball. And I mean, so many times last year we watched the Eagles that their primary idea didn't work, and the backside was all just timing routes. It's all curl routes, hitches, things like that you just can't reasonably get to. And I didn't see that with the Packers. What I saw was a lot of receivers flowing into the quarterback's field of vision, bootlegs where the quarterback has an option to tuck the ball and run it if he gets a favorable look. Like a lot of those things is what we're talking about when we say QB friendly. We're not talking, your average depth of target is 1.8 yards because you're Daniel Jonesing your way to MVP candidacy in October. Yeah. That's not what I'm talking about when I say QB friendly.
Yeah, I agree. Was there any other big takeaways? I've got one other one that I was going to mention, but any other big takeaways in general that you had? And I think the middle of the field one was a really good one. It's not sorry, I've asked you for one, I'm giving my own. I think the idea Hurts couldn't play in this offense is nonsense. It's not under center, deep digs, backside digs, like reading front side, getting to your backside read. It's not that. Like it wasn't that often. Barely any big plays. Now what I only went through 5 games, but I didn't see a great deal of that at all.
Right. I think the last thing I would mention is just how often they would run the same things from just slightly
Yeah.
different looks. Like we showed 3 clips. I think it was all from the same game against the Commanders where they would run a verticals route. Like if you've ever played Madden, you get the verticals route from the bunch where like the point guy kind of runs the post route and the inside guy goes up the seam and the outside guy wheels to the sideline. Like we saw him run that and hit the seam off of motion, and then we saw him come back to that, but instead of it wheeling, it like became, instead of the tight end breaking on the post, he actually broke outside and it became a corner route. And then they came back later, I think it was from under center, and basically ran the same thing with the vertical routes again. So they were attacking the defense in the exact same way from basically the same look, but they slightly moved guys around, or they would switch release one time and just to confuse the defense. And so you can take a basic concept and you can put different window dressing over it and make it look like an entirely different play to defend, when in reality your quarterback's just reading the same thing. And that kind of ties into the QB friendly thing again, but I thought things were sequenced well. They built off of each other well, and that extends to run game and some other things too, how they would come back to looks, but primarily that pass sequence is what stuck in my head.
Yeah, let's get out of it shortly, but I thought I'd give you something, Shane. You're not the only one with stats. So Jordan Love, intermediate middle throws of the field this year for quarterbacks with at least 100 pass attempts, ranked 34th out of 45. He attempted 35 out of 439 total passes, which ranks him 45th. Again, some other sites might have different metrics, but the one I'm using, again, whatever, he was bottom third. If you look at guys at the top, it was interestingly Tyler Shuck, the Saints guy, Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott, like big arm guys. So he was significantly below the league leaders. So yeah, the idea that they were just hammering it, and Jalen Hurts, how is he going to suddenly react to this? I really don't think. I think the absolute non-negotiable, big takeaway he is simply going to have to do. And I'm not going to talk Super Bowl on the show because we're going too long already, but I will say one big thing I had from the Super Bowl was the Seahawks being under center on half of their snaps. I think the absolute non-negotiable that Hurts will have to learn that is going to be different is under center passing. I think whether that's like outside throws, I don't just think everyone assumes like under center play action and it's like, oh, it's middle of the field. No, it can be like a comeback from under center. They're going to have to expand their under center game. I think that is going to be the big change. I think that is the one that's going to be the one that Hurts will have to get used to. Because although I'm saying it is a more friendly offense to him, the Packers still live in under center quite a lot. So he is going to have to get used to that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that you want to mention about the Packers offense?
I went into this on Patreon quite hard. So the idea of them targeting the flat, a lot of their concepts hit the flat hard. Yards after the catch is another thing that they did really well as an offense. We spoke mainly pass game, so I would just say like run game wise, it's not just outside zone. You get more duo than you might expect. You do get some split zone, some inside zone, some shotgun stuff. So it's not just like under center outside zone, under center outside zone. But I think we'll leave it there. We'll leave some meat on the bone for the Patreon. I'm going to have some videos out soon on free agency as well. We've got so much stuff on there. I put out a 25 play video clip, which took forever. And also the Shrine Bowl charting took forever. So if you appreciate the work, if you would like to help, then please support us. That's really it from me.
All right. Did you want to give any reactions to the Super Bowl, or did we waffle too long?
I just said I was going to skip it if you were listening, Shane. But no, I don't. Joe, I've already mentioned my two big ones.
I will admit I wasn't. I did zone out.
We all know.
I zoned out because I was trying to get the film stuff posted to the Patreon.
We have receipts. I won't
for our Patreons. I prioritize them over your waffling.
Yeah, wonderful. I won't do too much. You've already spoke about it with Mark, haven't you? So I would just say I think the idea that, run game, defense, it's big still. And I think the under center idea. Just a very quick comment. You literally got it in just in time from what an at drip drop dribbly. Love it. Do you think the new O-line coach deserves the criticism, or was it personnel, or both? My honest opinion is I struggle to rank coaches based on how well their like group done. I think grading coaches is so hard. I haven't looked into him in a huge amount of detail, but if they've not got very good players, the offensive line won't look very good. Like for me, I care about like penalties and stuff, and I also care about the way people speak about him. So when someone goes, who just left the Eagles on defense? Christian Parker. Yeah. Well, how do you know he's going to be good? Well, I don't. He's never called a defense before. All I can do is I can tell you that Eagles defensive backs speak incredibly highly of him. Watch the interviews and go from there. For what I read about the new I-line coach, seems to be well respected across the league from the way people say. So I'm not going to worry about his unit performing quite poorly because that depends on so many other factors. Yeah.
So we got a comment here, Johnny, that's asking what you think about the new O-line coach. I'm totally kidding. Don't look at me like that.
I was reading and I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm totally with you. It's so hard to parse out like what a position coach is responsible for. We were having this conversation in the Patreon the other day about Aaron Moorhead and the lack of receiver development in the 5 or 6 years he's been here. And it's like, and somebody raised the point, like, we've always said Howie's bad at drafting receivers. So, is it bad drafting? Is it bad development? Who the heck knows? And it's kind of like that too with any position coach. It's just hard to isolate. And beyond that, I haven't grinded film on the Vikings offensive line. So I couldn't, even if I was prepared, I probably couldn't give you a good answer to that, but I'm also not even prepared for that. So I think you just hope for the best. You assume this is the guy that Mannion wanted to bring in. And, obviously, I think it's fair to say, obviously he'll be a downgrade from Stoutland, but he will fit the scheme better.
Yeah. And that's the thing. As we said, they're blowing it up. Got to do something different. You got to go all in. You can't really half-ass these kind of things. Yeah, you got to do it.
So, all right. Well, with that said, we will get out of here. Again, all of our film watch along, it's about a 30-minute video, is on Patreon. You can grab a free 1-week trial to our $5 or $7 a month tier to get access to that. It is not available for the $3 a month tier. That's mostly Discord and ad-free podcasts. But come check it out. We think you'll like it. We think you'll want to stick around. If not, we will continue to put stuff out here in the off season. But a lot of our film stuff will be in Patreon. A lot of our takeaways from it will be what hits the public feed. So regardless of where or how you support us, whether it be Patreon, whether it be listening on podcast platforms, watching on YouTube and Twitter, we really appreciate you guys. Likes, follows, 5-star reviews are always greatly appreciated. And that's going to do it for this one. We will catch you guys next time.